Hello, Proxy Table Gaming fans. I'm Hyper G with Lucky Sixes
Bonjour.
for another battle report from Cardiff, the Welsh Open.
Yeah, man.
And
Day two,
we're
baby.
into it is day two, yes. And I had a really good evening with the
Yeah, we did.
guys.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed. The only thing I would say about the evening is I wish my car had 7 seats
Yeah, I know.
because I'm more than happy to do driving on these evenings because I don't drink, and I just wish I could be taxi man for more people, really. But eventually, you just get to the stage where your car's full.
Yeah, man. It
So,
was funny. We went to a place in Cardiff. I think it was the Matten Cherry or something like that. But
what was it?
we had about 40 people literally there.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
And
it
they
was
had no
crazy.
one in there when we arrived.
No,
So
so
I think we made their week,
yeah, man.
possibly. Which is, maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe they're really normally busy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely gave them a bit of a boost in terms of their business. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it was good fun. It was good
all
fun. It
good.
was nice, non-traditional curry, I would say.
I would say so, yeah.
But
Yeah, nothing was called what you think it was.
yeah, well, I say traditionally, just my naive view on what is traditional.
Where's the tikka?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool. So we're into round four, day two. I haven't had a good day one. I mean,
No,
I've escaped on what am I on? 13 points.
13.
Yeah, escaped on 13 points. I think is the best way of putting it. It's not 13 points achieved. Well, it kind of is. But yeah. Anyway, so I need a good day two because I'm way behind the curve.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, obviously, my hopes of winning the tournament. No, I wasn't ever planning to, but
Slim. They are
yeah,
slim.
slim. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Maybe even mathematically impossible. I didn't
But
work it
hey, we're
out.
not about negativity on this channel.
No, we're not. We are not. We are about positivity and
Anything can
playing
happen.
to the end. Absolutely. Which was one of the comments recently, actually, was it's nice to see Hyper G didn't give up.
Yeah.
Which is
No.
true. I think that was about a battle report that was about 20 ago in the series, but
Mm.
still. Absolutely. Don't why give up when you're doing something you enjoy doing,
Yeah,
playing a
man.
battle. So yeah, keep going, really. That's the message for all the children today. Keep going. So let's crack on, shall we? Overnight, I had a chance to look at my opponent's list, and it's Drew Huntley playing Dread Elves. I like Dread Elves, obviously. I have dabbled with them a little bit. And yeah, his list provided a few things that I would normally like playing if I were playing Dread
Like
Elves.
playing with.
With Dread Elves, yes, but we'll get
Yes.
to that in a moment. The deployment type was Mists in the Past, which those
Yeah.
old schoolers may remember from a certain battle in the past, which was an 8th edition Warhammer setup, where you basically just flipped the table the other way and deployed in the opposite ends
Yeah.
to what you normally would, flip
Long
it 90
ways.
degrees, basically, yeah. And that was most of the difference, except what you could also do was you could write down 3 pairs of units on a card.
Yeah.
And when the cards are revealed, you can basically swap those units over. So
But you didn't have to.
really, you didn't have to. No, really, you didn't really know where your deployment was going to end up, and you also didn't know where your opponents was going to end up
Yeah.
based on what they'd written down. And then it was Spoils of War on top of that, which was kind of a little bit squished up.
The spoils were right out on the edge.
Right out on the edge. I'm glad you said that because it means we played it right.
To pretend that you can have flanks.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Although, funnily enough. Anyway, yeah. So let's see how we go. Here is the Orcs and Goblins list of Mister Hyper G. We've seen it before, obviously, a few times.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, it's not going great this
A
tournament,
bit,
but
a bit squished. Did you feel a bit
a bit
squished?
squished. I was a bit squished, and there was something else that made me even more squished, which we'll see in the deployment. But I have a lot of units. Admittedly, 10 of them are chaff. But we'll see how we go with it. Really, can Shagger lead the way and hopefully get me some points in
I like
round
that.
four?
10 chaff units.
But pretty much. I mean, look at it. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units are under 200 points. And surely, if you're under 200 points, you're chaff,
Your
right?
chaff. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, the 10th one is 205 and 200. Yeah, I've got 11 chaff, mate. What you got?
I have 2 units and 11 chaff.
That's pretty much it, yeah. But anyway, so Drew's list. I bought my ogres off of Drew years ago, which was really cool because I hadn't really spoken to him about it, and certainly not since. So it was really cool mentioning that to him and saying, your ogres have done terribly for me.
Remember me? Yeah. I want a refund. Yeah.
Yeah, too right. No, but he has got an awesome list. I love it. You'll love it too. Imperious Dragon Beastmaster. I mean, you don't need to read any further. Lucky sixes.
Yes, baby.
Yeah. Warlock Outcast on evocation with Crystal Ball Binding Scroll. Very nice magic defense as well on that. Temple Exarch with Divination. Love me an Exarch. A bit of Aether Icon goodness. Seal of the Republic means he gets a better armor every time he causes a wound, which is nice on a 5-up armor model to begin with. And will be going first most of the time. And Shield Breaker for any armor piercing issues. 27 Temple Militants. Love it. He's got the girls out. Brilliant. Love that. And already know I'm going nowhere near them. So, there is that.
Yeah, it's a good matchup for them.
Yeah, auxiliaries, 2 units of Shadow Riders, 24 Judicators, which I've also played in my Dread Elves list, so I know all about them. Admittedly, I was a little bit disappointed by their performance when I played them, so maybe there's something I can build on there. I can't remember what Kedron's Pennon does. There's a few cool things. It might be the Swift Road one, maybe? I don't know. Not sure. Or Scent of Blood one. I could be wrong. Anyway,
sure.
It didn't come up, so don't worry about that. 2 repeater batteries. Nice to see 2 instead of 3 because they're awesome. And 2 units of Black Cloaks and a Kraken. So there are actually similarities.
A lot of similarities,
played, So
and he's got a dragon.
Yeah, he's got a dragon. Yeah, so there's a lot that I know what it does. So we'll see. I didn't massively like this matchup though. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff goes before me, even with the spear agility bonus. Even like if I get Deception of Glamour off on something, he probably still goes first if he's on the charge or whatnot. And his units just dice me up. Armor piercing is probably a difficult thing for the Dread Elves, especially Temple Militants. They can only get a Rending Banner for +1 AP, which these have. And I don't have any armor anyway, so their weakness is really not maximized by me. I'm just going to die in droves before I get to strike. So yeah, I'm not keen on the matchup. So we'll see what I can do about it. So yes, speaking of squish deployment, of course, from earlier, I had a big old building in the way of my deployment as well. Let's see, did I? Drew chose the side, so that would explain why. So well done, Drew, giving me a big old extra hampering in my deployment zone. And he deployed first. So yeah, I don't know how that worked out. But he dropped one down. He dropped. Yeah, he dropped for second, I think it was actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, I basically probably just put one down and then he dropped for second. He wanted that. Spoils, I guess, maybe second works nicely for that. Sure. Not so much as secure target, I guess, but still. And yeah, I thinking about it, I was so squished, and it was because I was squished. I didn't really maximize my usage of the swapping units over.
Yeah.
As much. So yeah, I kind of had my 2 National Wrecking teams like in front of the building because they were pretty much the only thing that could fit there.
Yeah.
Unless I put a chaff unit of Goblin Raiders or whatnot. But I had in the back of my mind, I did want to potentially have units that could swap. But really, the way I've deployed, every unit that I selected that I could have swapped round, they couldn't fit in each other's space.
Sure, yeah.
Like both ways. Maybe one could fit in the other's space. Like if I moved a Wrecking Team and a Gargantula, for example, like the Wrecking Team can get where the Gargantula is, the Gargantula can't get where the Wrecking Team is. So I was really struggling with using that to my advantage.
Yeah.
The only way I could have done it was if I'd have dropped a few units of chaff backwards and given myself more space on the front lines. But I'd kind of come to the conclusion already that I wasn't going to use that swapping tactic. It was all going to be a bit of a smokescreen for me.
Sure.
And I was just going to deploy how I wanted and not worry about it. So anyway, what have I got? I've got 3 units of Feral Orc Boys on the bottom left, bottom right of the picture. Then they are basically another smokescreen. They're looking like they might go for the objective. They're actually not. They were never going for the objective. Nashers next to them. I've got 2 units of Scuttlers in scouting position just ahead of the main line. Gargantulas behind them. Goblin Raiders. The unit that is 2 wide and backwards is the Common Orc 4 boys. So they're the 2-up armor save ones. Then the 2 wrecking teams. I put a little dice behind one of them to indicate that that was the one that I was written down in a swap, even though I had no intention of using it.
Yeah.
But that was my secret indication. That was the one I meant if it come about. Big unit ferals, obviously, they're in there with Shagger and all that lot. And then I got the Goblin Chariots on the far right. Because he had dropped, I did have a chance to choose who I was going against. And my figures, my thoughts were that he was loaded on his side. I mean, I'll go through it now. Temple Militants are his unit on the bottom left. Then the Auxiliaries, the Dragons behind, Bolt Thrower, then the Judicators, another Bolt Thrower, 2 units of Shadow Riders. They're going to be running forward pretty quick. And then the Kraken is kind of surrounded by 2 units of Black Cloaks.
Yeah.
And my thinking was that the Chariots can zone his Black Cloaks back and possibly threaten the Kraken as well with the impact hits. Because the Kraken hasn't got a lot of defense. I mean, I know it's going to be, it's only res 5 as well. And my strength on the Chariots is 5. So if I get a good load of impact hits into the Kraken, I might even kill it before it strikes.
Yeah,
if I don't kill it before it strikes, I'm in trouble.
And it's one of the with distracting. In fact, it's just one of the best ways of
getting through it. Yeah. So if I can do a few wounds on the way in with my Pyro Mage wizard in the ferals, I was thinking to myself, well, I might even be able to turn that flank.
Yeah. Because it looks like he's sort of gone for the other side and the centre.
Exactly.
Try and contest the centre with you at some point and make sure on this other one, and then just keep you back.
Yeah, that's it. The only regret I had, and it was instantly obvious, is that I didn't have a scoring unit to grab that spoil over there, other than the Orcs, the ferals.
Yeah.
And my plan was always to wheel around with my Orcs behind the building and go for that spoil. I just started off a bit too far away, and really I should have put the common Orcs behind the Orcs to clear up the objective. So that was my only regret, and I only really saw that after it was too late. So, oh well. So I think we're ready to kick on. I got some pictures of Drew's army because it's beautiful. Most of the armies there were, just beautiful. I've got a picture of the dragon. Don't you worry. I know you're having convulsions there, but very nice. I mean, the deep purple does work well for Dread Elves. I don't care what anyone says about that. I know it's possibly traditional, but yeah, nice. Obviously, I mean, I guess that's the Hydra model rather than the Kraken model, but still, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure there is a Kraken model, is there, technically, from the old days?
I don't know.
But yeah, there's the dragon anyway. I mean, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah, doing a good job.
Yeah. So this was my non-swappage that I went with. Obviously, I crossed them out pretty soon. There's not really a lot of point in looking at what I chose or talking about it because I don't think any of the options could fit in each other's template. We could analyze it if you want, but take my word on it, it wasn't going to work. So there you go. Similarly, Drew also chose not to use the swapping tactic. So he's got his Black Cloaks with Judicators, Black Cloaks with Temple Militants, and Dragon with Auxiliaries. He chose not to use it. I don't know, again, whether the templates would have worked out or what benefit it would have been. But either way, he just chose not to use it after I said not to use it. So we move on. So into my turn 1. I think this is after Drew has vanguarded a little bit. And my wrecking teams basically just split apart. I'm really aware that his Shadow Riders can just move up and light troops and get them both. My issue is that the wrecking team, if it touches the hill, it takes dangerous terrain.
Yeah.
And I might kill it that way. Possibly not a huge chance of killing it that way. But I basically just try and split them up as best I can. Because I know that the Shadow Riders can just do their little conga line thing and possibly kill them all. I just want one to roll significantly higher than the other and mean that his options aren't as good. Unfortunately, neither of them roll that high. And we already know what's going to happen to them. So I wasn't getting too upset about it. Again, I think I misdeployed them again. I think I should have seen that he had Shadow Riders and just stuck them on opposite ends. Simple as that.
Sure.
But I think I got too hung up on the fact that they were the only thing that could really fit in front of the building. So a few little silly decisions I'm already making. So I'm just not on the best form, I don't think, at the minute. But anyway. So yes, in my turn 1, I basically just began to turn the flank, moving forward quite aggressively, getting my Pyro Wizard onto the hill so that you can start pyroing a little bit. My chariots are very much zoning over that side.
Yeah, makes sense, man.
Yeah. I moved the common orc boys so that they could slowly begin moving their way to the right.
Yeah.
They are facing forward at the moment, but their plan was always to get behind the ferals and then work their way round.
Sure.
Gargantula was a little bit spare at the moment because I'm so narrow. And obviously my chaff in the middle is just waiting to hold back his temple militants.
With the Dread Elves +1 to wound, the Gargantula doesn't really like going into infantry unless he's only going to be against one dude. Anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So again, that's not ideal for a Gargantula either. Not with, I mean, he's got Kraken, he's got Dragon. Yeah. Judicators will mess him up.
Yeah.
I wasn't too worried about having him sitting back. And my boars start moving their long journey around the smoke screen. The one at the front couldn't actually turn around and move because it would gets caught on the others. So I actually had to move it backwards. And I think I checked with Rob at the time. You can't actually move off the board and then back onto it. I thought you could. I thought you used to be able to. But either way, that's another thing that my deployment wasn't great because I had this 3 units that were just traffic jamming each other.
Sure.
And I couldn't really get them out. Scuttler moved forward, not to chaff anything in particular, but just to be a nuisance, to see what he could do. And sure enough, the Shadow Riders just take out both my wrecking teams.
Yeah.
I need to just stop deploying them near each other and just put them on the flanks.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's annoying, but against very mobile units, that's just what happens, really.
Yeah.
Over here into Drew's turn 1, he moves his Black Cloaks up to start shooting at the chariots. I think this was very much baiting charges as well.
Yeah.
Which is fine, not to be unexpected. The Kraken's very much zoning me back, which is also fine. He declares a charge with his dragon on Scuttler, which he fails a panic test, Scuttler, and runs away. That's not terrible. That's fine. I mean, I'm okay with that. It means Scuttler's alive for another turn, or he has to shoot it. And he starts really moving forward pretty aggressively with his temple militants. There's nothing over there that can threaten them. They will get that objective, and they probably will hold it. So that's fine. His Judicators move face into the middle a little bit, which is also okay because we both pretty much know it's going to be Judicators versus Feral Orcs at some point. It's just all the foreplay before we get to it, really.
Teasing each other.
Exactly, yeah. The good thing about the dragon declaring the charge is it doesn't really move because it fails the charge.
Yeah, so, and he has to move in the charge phase, doesn't he? So
exactly, so completely fine with that. Yeah, so it's a turn where the dragon isn't really causing any damage, so that's fine. Going into, I think this is some of magic or shooting, or both probably. So he kills one common orc. The Black Cloaks do a fair decent number on my chariots. Do 2 wounds to the wizard because they can pick him out relatively well. Obviously hits, 1 goes on each, etc. But you can distribute on the wizard first, which is fine. There's 2 on the wizard and 2 to the unit, which a little bit scary for them.
You need to get rid of them.
Exactly. I mean, I know the Black Cloaks are good, so I'm not unexpecting that. Yeah, Common Orc goes down. A few Nashers go down to the auxiliaries. I was quite pleased he wasn't shooting Scuttler, actually. Just decided to shoot the Nashers. I guess they're slightly more of a threat to his units, the Nashers. I've got plenty of chaff to replace Scuttler, I guess. And I'll lose 1 Feral Orc as well. Over into my turn, I can continue. I'm getting my boars out of there. Their only goal is to keep their points. I wasn't expecting them to have enough movement to get all the way around the flank. I was really hoping that my 4 common orcs that are left, and you can see that they've started their move behind the ferals. Meanwhile, I've got my scuttlers and my goblin raiders in the middle, ready to chaff, which is pretty cool. Gargantula's hanging back as per normal. And the Nashers didn't move forward, so they're completely fine, being the last ones to go down. Get out of here, guys. We'll hold this. No, you won't.
In Nasher talk.
Exactly. Too right, yeah. Chomp, chomp, chomp. What's beautiful about Scuttler is he rallies. Yay! Obviously, it was a failed terror test, so you can't feign flight or anything like that. But he's still there. He could be a problem. My Feral Orcs, I decided to get pretty aggressive with. I moved them up so far that the Judicators are still in their front.
Okay,
But
good.
I'm basically yeah. Don't worry about that. That would be horrible if I'd given them a flank. But I'm basically saying to him, your Black Cloaks and your Kraken and your Shadow Riders and your Bolt Thrower, I'm not going to be scared of them. I'm not going to hang around for them.
Yeah.
Because I want to threaten this center. I'm still on the hill, and if he has anything in the front, I'm going to get rerolls.
True.
And I'm basically just saying, yeah, if you want to come get me, come get me. And I was hoping to boost them up with a bit of magic, so to discourage Drew from just saying, fine, I'm coming in. Yeah. Over here, my chariots declare the charge on the Black Cloaks just to eliminate them with impact hits.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, Drew's very canny operator. His other Black Cloaks are not within panic range. So there was no chance of getting both units, which absolutely fine. And yeah, you can see there, I've just about got, I mean, it's millimeters between the Judicators having a flank on me and not, but my movement was very precise.
You made sure,
yeah. I made sure that, it's one of those, we all agree the Judicators are in the front sort of things. So yeah. This was interesting. In my magic phase, I do Pyroclastic Flow and Blaze and get really successful. I kill all of the Shadow Riders with
nice.
Pyroclastic Flow, which is amazing. I could use the bigger one because I was within 12 inches of them, which was half of my reason for being aggressive with it. So 3d6. And then Blaze took a wound on the Kraken, so chipping away at that. That's
how many wounds did it have? 6?
5 wounds.
5, so
yeah.
4.
Both of them are a little bit squishier than your normal monster, but are very, very aggressive. So, and destructing, obviously. So, but yeah, magic is the way to do it. What was even better about this magic phase? The Kraken flees from panic.
Oh,
and
wow.
I tell you what, if there's one model that should have Fearless, it's a Kraken.
Yeah.
But I have suffered from that, when one Kraken dies, the other one runs off the board, that sort of thing. I've suffered from that in a previous battle. And yeah, all of a sudden, look at the empty space in front of the Ferals. That wasn't there a minute ago.
That's crazy,
So that was a nice little Pyroclastic Flow going off. What it does mean is that Drew is dispelling my buffs on my Orcs. So I end up getting 0 buffs on my Orcs, which is a little bit scary.
I think it would be scary if the Kraken was still there. Now it's
potentially, absolutely,
just a fair fight, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. If he wants to come in, he can come in, and he will cause a fair amount of damage if he does come in now. So I'm bracing for that.
But so will you.
Yeah. Because I think the Judicators have fight an extra rank. Pretty sure. So
they have 1 attack each.
Yeah, they have 1 attack. Actually, no, they might not have fight extra.
Well, they do anyway because they're 8 wide. But
that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So all 24 of them.
25 attacks. Hit on 2 is probably wounding. Strength 6.
Yeah.
So 2s and 2s.
Oh yeah. I think they might be hitting on 3s because they're great weapons and lightning reflexes are taken away.
Oh yeah, sure. That does.
But still,
But you're only defensive 2. What's their? Are they offensive 5?
I think they're 5. Yeah. Obviously, he's got magic to buff that if he wanted it. But anyway,
true.
The chariots do their business in the Black Cloaks, which is perfect. So that's 1 unit of chaff killed. In fact, I'm a few points up at this stage because I haven't really lost anything except the wrecking teams.
Sure, yeah.
And I've killed both his Shadow Riders and 1 unit of Black Cloaks. And obviously, if the Kraken doesn't rally,
come on,
then it is out of the game for a long time. So that's our hope. Into Drew's turn 2. He got Whispers of the Veil. He didn't charge the Judicators. Obviously, otherwise they'd be there going into his magic phase. So that's that. He did get Whispers of the Veil on my Orcs. Basically, his idea was he's going to put both bolt throwers, all the auxiliaries into my Orcs and kill as many as he can to even the odds a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because one of the things in Judicators versus Orcs is Judicators kill a fuck ton, and then I kill a fuck ton back.
Yeah.
But if I haven't got a lot back, which is why he's trying to shoot them down a bit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't think this spell is like game breaking for me that he's got it off. But I was in a little bit of a mindset where I'm going through a phase of not dispelling with all my dice. So hence the picture comes out, the bitterness.
He diced you. He
Well, he didn't even dice me because it's not a great roll from his part, is it?
4v5.
Still beat me, but yeah. Anyway, in fact, his roll is completely average, isn't it? 14. But yeah. Anyway, So I couldn't roll.
Diced yourself, basically.
Yeah, I did pretty much. Yeah. In his turn, so yeah, his Judicators step backwards. They don't want any of that. Possibly because the Kraken needed a turn to figure it out. He knew it had rallied at that point. Excuse me. And he moved his Black Cloaks to kind of tempt the Chariots into getting a stand and shoot from them.
Sure.
In his shooting, he does another wound to the unit and another wound to the wizard.
Wow.
If he has a stand and shoot, the wizard could die and the unit could die. It could be down to one chariot.
Yeah.
Although that probably still kills the Black Cloaks, it might end up.
If it kills your wizard, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So there is that. So he's 9.1 inches away from my chariots, which means he gets a stand and shoot. Elsewhere, his militants have now picked up. Oh no, they would have moved on to the objective in this turn, but they've moved so far forward. Their back rank is on the objective standard. His auxiliaries, I think most of them can see the orcs. I'm not sure. Maybe he was going to shoot something else actually with them. And his bolt throwers are just moving with the line of Judicators effectively. So into my turn, I think I in terms of shooting, I didn't suffer too badly, as you can tell. I think I've lost about 4 orcs in Drew's turn. But in my turn, I do a little trick, which I am very much used to, which is I declare the war cry. And what that means is my chariots are now movement 10.
Right.
Which means I am now not able to be stunned and shot at.
Brutal.
Cheeky little move. I mean, it does mean I'm down a war cry for the rest of the battle, but I'll take it because it means he had to flee this instead. I was actually really hopeful that he would flee off the board with this because I thought our center to center was a little bit more angled, but we measured it and he wasn't going off the board. So unfortunately, then my chariots just stumble forward and don't really go very far. So I had a real chance of catching them because technically I was 10 hit them, and I'm movement 10. So I was Swift Ride and he wasn't. So I really actually hoped. I mean, I might have taken DTs in the forest and maybe got crunched by a Kraken in return. But yeah, I just didn't go anywhere. I think it might have even been a 1-1, one of those chiffies.
Yeah, sure.
Elsewhere, I think nothing to see yet. I think, into remaining moves, then I move my ferals to be aggressive again on the hill. I want to grab that objective in my turn 4 with the ferals and basically say, if your Judicators want to fight me, then fine, but I've got the objective and you're going to have to do something about it. My common orcs, the 4 of them that are left, are moving around the flank, and I think they're in time to get that objective on the right-hand side. So that's all right. My other ball boys are just heading to the corner. There is nothing they can do. Yes. I mean, technically, I'm only saving about 600 points. Should I have used them as chaff instead?
That's 2 tournament points.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my thinking. Better there than dead, And as well, my Scuttler Spider's still alive, and he goes and chaps the auxiliaries, so that there isn't a chance of the auxiliaries adding ranks to the Judicators after I kill lots of Judicators, that sort of thing.
Sure.
In that, although obviously the Goblin Raiders are also chapping the Judicators at this point. So,
would you not have wanted the auxiliaries to go in at this point?
Maybe. I was also thinking that the issue I had was that the Temple Militants were in the flank of my ferals at this point.
Oh right, wow.
And although that looks like a decent distance, he can see my back template because I've got the full movement tray as my ferals.
Yeah.
So he can see with his Temple Militants the flank of my ferals, and that is almost as bad as Judicators in the flank.
Yeah. Is he still, and he's in your flank, is he?
The Temple Militants are, but that's why I've got my Scuttler Spider there, so that he wouldn't be able to wheel round them. I suppose he could actually. Maybe you couldn't see them because I'm standard tall.
You're on a hill though.
True. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I have left it. It doesn't come up, but
sure.
That was. I think that was my thinking anyway. Unless of course my ferals aren't in the militants' flank. Either way, I wasn't feeling too bad about this. And I put my Scuttler there for a reason. I don't know. It's hard looking back at pictures, isn't it? Trying to put yourself back in the mind. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I get healing waters on my ferals,
Cool.
which I think is a decent one to have because he's got no flaming attacks. So
Yeah.
that's basically just to minimize the shooting casualties. Obviously, he can't come into me. It doesn't look like the militants are in the flank of my ferals from this picture, does it? No,
Doesn't matter, yeah.
not even close. Actually, in fact, maybe the scuttler isn't even in line of sight of the militants.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm trying to just be a bit of a pain with my scuttler.
Yeah.
Actually,
Makes
more
sense.
than anything else. And I get and that means I get Fountain of Youth to get a wound back on the wizard, which is cool. So that's nice. I don't think there's anything much more to see on that. Oh no, so he does charge the scuttler with the temple militants because it flees that way.
Yeah, so he could just see the scuttler.
Yeah, must have been.
But
and
fails.
The scuttler obviously flees and he fails and doesn't go very far.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just keeping the militants busy, I guess, really.
Yeah.
He goes into the Goblin Raiders with his Judicators. They will die horrible, painful deaths, which is what they're there for. I'm not sure if the Auxiliary is charged or not. Probably not. But either way, my Scuttler just fled not far enough to get in the way of the ferals as well, which is very important. It didn't flee very far, but he didn't run very far either. So, anything? Oh yeah, he moves his auxiliaries. So yeah, so he couldn't have charged them. He moves so that they can shoot at the ferals, which is fair enough. Over here, his Black Cloaks rally and his Kraken's back in the game. His dragon goes into the flank of my ferals, so now I've really got to do something with my ferals now because all that space I cleared in front of them is now not space anymore.
Yeah.
And my chariots are obviously they've led a little bit, so their zoning is now a little bit minimized. So yeah, we'll see how we go. A pyro spell has done 2 wounds to that bolt thrower at some point as well. He gets a really good magic phase and gets Know Thine Enemy and Spectral Blades off on his Judicators, which makes them insanely good. I mean, I haven't got the bitter dice out, so clearly I dispelled something, but not those, which is fine. I think these spells, he was hitting on 3s. No, now he was hitting on 2s with Know Thine Enemy.
Yeah.
And now he's wounding on 2s rerollable. I think those spells were kind of like, he's already killing me really well. Those were the ones I let through because there was another spell I think there was a damage spell, Whispers of the Veil, I think it was, I got rid of.
Yeah, that would have been.
Because if,
discipline.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, those Judicators are looking good. And here we are going into my turn 4. This would be coming up. And so
it looks like he did one more wound to your chariot.
Yes, he did with his shooting from his Black Cloaks. Yeah, which is fine. Easy come, easy go. I'm waiting for it. Auxiliaries kill 6 ferals despite hitting waters. So, I mean, they're good. They repeat crossbows. What to be expected. And a Nasher dies from a bolt thrower shot, which is a lot less than you'd expect, actually. So my Gargantula was constantly 24 inches away from the bolt thrower.
Yeah.
I think it's movement 5 and range 18, I think. So I was constantly out of range, even if you moved it forward.
Yeah.
So I didn't want my Gargantula losing wounds. So. And then what happens in my turn 4? Oh no, I've got another picture.
Yeah, Judicators killed.
Well, no, we can see it. Yeah, the Judicators killed the Goblin Raiders. But what happens in my turn 4 is shown in this picture. So, considering the Judicators are so buffed up with magic, I'm charging.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, true. But I also failed the frenzy test.
Oh, right, okay.
So, I didn't have the choice. I'll tell you what, I could have sat there and analysed the numbers and for 20 minutes. But good job, I failed a frenzy test. It meant I didn't have a choice. There was a possibility of declaring a long charge into the bolt thrower. Obviously, I'm rerollable because I'm on the hill.
Sure.
And that would have got me in an interesting position. But if I fail it, the Judicators come in anyway. The Dragon comes in, the Kraken comes in. I'm dead meat, simple as. So I may as well go straight forward and face the Judicator music. What I also decided to do, which was a bit risky, was I decided to charge my chariots into the flank of the dragon.
Yes.
Drew was very canny in his. I'm using canny a lot today for this one.
Very canny.
He put his Kraken in the forest, so I would have had
Yeah.
a lot of DTs if the chariots charge him. That would have been their obvious target. Or I could have attempted to go into the Black Cloaks, but they would have then stunned and shot, and I would have been dead. So I thought, let me get into the flank of the dragon. If I can impact hit this guy down a few wounds, I mean, on average, I might even kill it. Wounding on 5s, yes, unless I get flaming swords off. Which is a. Have I even got it this game? Maybe I'm not sure. And so yeah, I saw that as an option of knocking the dragon down a bit, and maybe knocking the dragon out of the game, even if it doesn't die from it, because it's a big threat in my feral's rear. Even no matter what happens between the ferals and the judicators, it's a big threat.
Yeah.
So if I knock it down a few wounds, maybe it'll think twice about taking Shagger on. That was my thinking anyway. Both get in, which is cool, and I take. Do I take? No, I don't take any wounds from the DT through the forest, which is really lucky. 3d6 impact hits is a lot better than 2d6 impact hits, obviously. So I'm really hoping that my impact hits just spike on the dragon. And
so now we're hoping for a good magic phase.
Yes, we are indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
Can I remember what I cast? That's still showing my movement phase. So the common orcs in the bottom right have now moved onto the objective in my turn 4, which is cool. Gargantula has moved into the flank of the temple militants. It is now in bolt thrower range, but it's turn 4. Drew's only got 3 turns, and if he puts all the bolts into the Gargantula, I just move it back again in my turn 5 before it gets to the point it's lost half points. The Nashers are also moving into the flank of the temple militants, keeping up the ruse that I plan on doing anything with them. The Scuttler Spiders are ready to chaff something, and my single Scuttler is chaffing the temple militants from
he's done well.
doing anything useful. So, considering he failed a panic test on turn 1, how is he still alive?
Yeah.
And Drew is a little bit like, that guy.
Yeah.
Just charge him, mate. Get him dead. You know.
Get him dead.
Yeah. So in Magic, this is my Magic phase, and you're going to notice the lack of magic spells on the Ferrovox. Drew dispelled everything. He had the Crystal Ball up, which obviously helped. He He had a binding scroll. He saved it for this turn. So very well played, Drew. I did manage to get Raven's Wing on my common orcs that are on the objective.
Okay.
That now means they're facing in the other direction.
Sure.
They will pick up the objective in turn 5, hopefully, and then they can move as far as possible away. They wouldn't be able to march, obviously, because you can't do that with the spoil unless you've got 3 ranks, but they would be able to move a bit further. So that's a very small output from a turn of magic. But yeah, never mind. Actually, Drew was kind to me here because I got Raven's Wing on the orcs. I turned them around and I started moving them.
Yeah.
And Drew was like, "Yeah, I haven't actually picked it up yet." Yeah. I was like, "Oh, okay. Can I move them back on?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course you can. You're still within your spell, so you know."
Yeah, just turn around. Yeah.
In my head, I'd got it in my head that I was going to be off 12 inches away with Raven's Wing, but because I hadn't actually picked it up yet, that would have been the stupidest move.
Yeah, as if. Yeah.
I mean, not that Drew's got any scoring over here anyway, but still. So yeah, that was the magic, somewhat of a dud. I do 4 wounds to the dragon with impact hits. The 6. Chariots that are dead, 4 out of 6. I think that's not a bad effort.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That does make the dragon consider his targets for the rest of the game, I think. Possibly.
We'll see what happens in this next. The big combat.
I actually didn't do... I think I got 14 impact hits, which is about average.
Yeah.
And I think I wounded about average. So I think I actually got like 6 or 7 wounds through to his armor save. And he had a 5-up armor.
Yeah.
And he just saved exactly average, pretty much.
Oh,
so it was. I think on average, I do 4 wounds. And I did 4 wounds.
And
so
then
it was fine. Yeah, and then I die. Absolutely, horribly, painfully, and shards of wood everywhere. And
Yes,
goblins.
yeah.
That's fine. I mean, to be expected. But anyway, that's how the dragon ends up. And then we fight the big one.
The big one.
And bear in mind that Shagger, if he pops his potion of swiftness, can go first on
Oh,
the
yes,
charge.
baby. That's what we
And
needed.
if anyone ever thought that the Mammoth Stabber is not worth it, impact hits, baby.
3 wounds, baby.
I mean, D3 impact hits. So it might just be 1. It wasn't 1. It was 3. And Shagger killed 7 on his own with 5 attacks.
You killed 23 Judicators.
Yes, I did. I mean,
Whoa.
I killed at least a rank's worth of Judicators
before
he struck. Actually, one thing that Drew... Actually, let me go back. He's got a full unit of Judicators there. Can we see whether Cascading Fire did anything? Doesn't look like it did. I think Drew also dispelled Cascading Fire in my magic phase because I was trying to kill Judicators before they struck, effectively.
Yeah.
But Shagger pulled one out here, popped his potion of swiftness, attacked first. Impact hits did 3 wounds. I rocked out a rank of Judicators before they struck. Drew didn't roll that well, considering he was hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, re-rolling.
Is he doing wounds to Shagger and...
Yes, he is.
Axe, correct.
He's not actually doing wounds to Shagger, or he is doing wounds to Azanax. He's doing wounds to the unnamed BSB at the moment.
Okay.
That's Raz Al Ghul, I think his name was back in the day. So yeah, 2 wounds to my BSB, 2 wounds to my wizard. Again, that's fine because they're not dead. And I've potentially got druidism. And yeah, Shagger just turned it because he had so many less attacks than he could have done.
Yeah,
I only lost, I think it's 6 Feral Orcs. I think I pulled a few cheeky Aegis 6-ups out as well.
Nice.
And what a result that is. He has got 1 Judicator left, which is a bit annoying. Because it means
are they stubborn?
No, they're not stubborn.
Okay,
No. They will be running. But it does mean I've got to make a decision about what I want to do, as opposed to just, am I overrunning or
that's not a decision. That's not a decision.
Go on then. What's the decision?
Overrun,
what's the only decision I can
overrun.
make? Fair enough. Good man.
Yeah.
Obviously, I overrun. I actually do enough to kill the Judicator, which is a massive bonus because I get the full points. I think Drew rolled a double 1 himself, actually, on the flea. So that Judicator was just absolutely in shell shock, which is fine. And yeah, I'm into the auxiliaries. I do have a dragon in my rear, but the dragon's only got 2 wounds left.
And combat res, man. Are you 8 wide? You are, aren't you? Yeah.
I am 7 wide because I like.
Oh, you're 7. Oh, okay,
I am 7 wide. So I've got spears for the extra rank.
The combat res is too much for him.
Absolutely, I think so too. Because I'm just going to kill auxiliaries.
At this point, do you still have a champion?
I do still have a champion. In fact, no, maybe I don't. Maybe the reason why Drew had 1 Judicator left because he killed my champion.
Okay.
So I don't think I do.
Still.
But Shagger is unwounded. And I think Shagger, with a 5-up Aegis, he might be able to take on the dragon. Yeah, maybe.
Even for you want to do like combat res, you give him the shaman who's only got a maximum of 4.
Exactly. Yeah.
Charge rank. Charge and rear, so that's 7. And then you should.
I'll wipe the floor with the auxiliaries. So yes, so there is that going into Drew's turn 4. A long turn 4 for me, but a lot achieved. So looking all right. Going into Drew's turn 4, he charges the militants into Scuttler to finally get rid of Scuttler. Wow. But one thing you'll see is the dragon hasn't moved very far. That's because he took the charge and it failed the charge. Drew was on the verge of rage, I think, at this point. Because he thought long and hard about whether it was a good idea to charge the dragon in. He eventually decided he's going to go for it anyway. And then it failed. So that's just the worst thing of all worlds, really. If you're going to charge in, you take what comes. But failing the charge and losing the movement is just annoying. So one thing you might also notice is the Kraken is gone from its previous position. I was really hoping the Kraken wouldn't make a Swift Stride 9 into my Common Orcs that had the objective. But clearly it did. So there is that. In fact, there it is.
Yeah,
he made a Swift Stride 9 into the rear of my Common Orcs, and that pretty much spells the end for me winning the objective 2-1.
Yeah.
Drew can't get that objective either, so we're
Sure.
at 1-1, Militants and Ferals, and arguably the Ferals can hold on to theirs now. The Adjudicators aren't a problem, unless the Militants get involved.
Is this his turn 4?
His turn 4.
So,
his turn 4.
I mean,
yeah.
A big comeback.
There's still plenty of time to play.
Yeah.
Well, I say there's plenty of time to play. There's plenty of turns left. There's not a lot of time.
Sure.
So will we get 6 turns is another question. His bolt throwers kill my scuttlers, the 5 of them, and that's annoying because I'm running out of chaff for the militants.
If you're 11 chaff.
Yeah, although technically 2 scuttlers flee behind the building, so they're not dead actually. So he didn't actually get any points for that, which is fine. I have thought about that in advance and turned one of the feral orc units back so that they can now become a chaff unit.
Yeah.
So there's that. I've worked out as well my other 2 boar units on the far corner are not going to be able to get to the objective in time.
Sure.
They can't move on it and then claim it turn 6, even if there wasn't a Kraken sitting on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just watching. Similarly, the Gargantula is more than 12 inches of an overrun of the Temple Militants, so Temple Militants aren't going to get it, and I'm just chilling.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping now the Ferals will overrun into the Bolt Thrower and kill it. So
yeah, you kind of want the
to worry about it.
To face the Ferals as well.
Do you reckon?
Well,
you reckon my Ferals in their current condition could take on the Militants?
They're only strength 3, aren't they?
Yeah. Wounding on 4s because of the wounding thing.
They're not in thingy. They're not fighting extra rank, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
they're naturally fighting extra rank. Yeah.
I don't know.
You haven't faced militants enough, mate. I need to bring on my militants list against you.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. There's plenty before that actually comes to pass. Over here, my orcs die horribly to the Kraken. The Kraken. That's game over for the objective. I kill the auxiliaries, and we have a chat between us and work out. So this is in Drew's turn 4.
Yeah,
that I've killed them. It would be my turn 5 next, which is why I don't turn to face the militants, because it's my turn next.
You don't overrun.
Well, I do actually overrun.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to take on the militants. I've made that decision.
Sure.
Like if he kills the scuttler and turns to face the ferals, I don't want to charge in. I'll lose too many before I strike. So yeah, I overrun to go into the bolt thrower. The Judicators actually flee instead of dying.
Auxiliaries.
That's what I mean. Auxiliaries, sorry, yes. But fortunately they flee to there, which means my Nashers can charge them off the board.
Yeah.
So that was a good idea, keeping the Nashers nearby.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you also, the auxiliaries, annoyingly for points wise, they kill my BSB and Azanax. Do the last wound on him. Both. Yeah. I mean, they've both got 5 of Aegis saves, but the auxiliaries just put everything they can on those characters.
Yeah.
So I am down all my wizards and BSB. So that's another reason I didn't want my ferals into the militants. You know, it's just dicey. You know, sure. I'm not at full strength, so
yeah.
Drew kills the Scuttler Spider and faces that way with his militants. So clearly he isn't planning.
So this is after your turn where you've overrun into the bolt.
Yes, we've skipped a little bit. Yeah, we've skipped a little bit. So yeah, he in his turn 4 he killed Scuttler. He faced that way, which meant in my turn 5 I charged the bolt thrower and I can face the dragon because the militants are not going to charge me in his turn 5. So
for sure.
That's fine. We're literally just holding an objective and saying, "You go that way, I'll go that way. We'll see each other later." Yeah. See you in the bar for a drink later. You know, yeah. My boars and my Scuttler Spiders, they might not have rallied actually, Scuttler Spiders, but the boars are literally just, we'll stand over here for the rest of the game, which is fine. 600 points saved. The Nashers, meanwhile, have charged off the auxiliaries, but they didn't charge far, which means, unfortunately, he is going to get my Nasher points by charging the militants in.
Meh.
Yeah, exactly. It was better getting the auxiliaries points The auxiliaries are worth far more than the Nashers. So.
Yeah.
So going into Drew's turn 5. Oh, that's just my backfield. I think the Scarlet Spiders have run off or are about to. Here we go. Last picture. Drew decides not to charge his dragon into the front of the ferals, which I think is a wise call based on combat res, like we say. And Shagger's unwounded. So unless he puts everything into Shagger in a duel and kills it, he's still going to lose on combat res, I think. And, you know, I think Shagger can possibly take that with Aegis saves. Maybe even kill the dragon before it strikes, you know.
Well, you'd need to kill the dragon, I think, otherwise it got thunderstorm.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. But Drew decides not to anyway, which I think is fine. We are drawn objective. He kills the Nashers with his militants, and we count up. What do you reckon? What do you reckon?
Drawn objective, I reckon 14.
Oh. Yeah. To me? Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. You know what? I thought so too. And then we counted up.
Oh.
And it was 10-10.
Okay.
Drew and I both looked at each other in absolute shock because we both thought I had done enough to win this one. And then the list of my chaff units that were dead just keeps on clocking up.
Yeah.
And the chariots are worth about 700 points when you factor in that I've got a wizard in there.
Yeah, sure. Oh, man.
I lost one unit of orcs as well, which are kind of
MSU,
nearly
right?
chaff.
That's, I guess, one of the downfalls of MSU.
Exactly. The amount, I mean, my list of units lost, I don't know how clearly you'll be able to see this, but that is how many he killed. Literally, there were a lot of entries, like 335, 310, 255, 200, 110, 225, 205, 135, 130, 130, 125, 150.
10 lots of 200 is 2,000.
Absolutely, yeah. It's 12 lots of that, effectively, and then a wizard. So... yeah.
So he ends up winning technically, but not.
He won on points, by about 100 points. So wow, I come out with a draw, but I'd feel a little bit like, could I have made that into a win in the end? I thought I'd won. I honestly thought I'd done enough to win. And I know 11 points, 12 points isn't that much different than 10. However, having said that, I don't think Drew made many mistakes. No. And I think he played it pretty darn well. I made a couple of deployment mistakes, which I then had to spend most of the battle trying to fix.
Sure, yeah.
And I think Drew played very well and just got a bit unlucky with the dragon charging the rear because that combat might have gone a bit differently. Maybe not even very well for him, maybe.
I don't know, because they still had a rank of auxiliaries, so...
yeah.
I think he would have done like 7-ish on...
on the ferals, yeah.
It depends whether the dragon goes... and you, presumably, if he goes in, you challenge with your lord, right? I
think so, or do what you said and get Azanax to just die for combat res first round. Yeah. So, which ironically might have meant Azanax died a different way. If that makes sense. But anyway, yeah. But well played, Drew. I really enjoyed this game. I think a 10-10 might have actually been a fair result, all things considered. Maybe Drew probably thinks otherwise. He maybe thought the matchup was a little bit in his favor and he possibly should have won it. But I'll tell you what, my ferals failing that frenzy test is everything on that because I might not have done that. In my head, I was actually
yourself out of it.
Yeah, in my head, I was getting that middle objective, and then I was Ravens winging out of there.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I give my honest opinion,
which
I
means
wasn't
going
to charge. So, which means I would have lost on points because my ferals wouldn't have got the adjudicators. I would have lost hard actually on the points. I think Drew still kills most of what he kills. I just don't get the adjudicators or the auxiliaries or the bolt thrower. So maybe I would have lost big if I'd have gone with that tactic.
Yeah.
But I might win on the objective. So, yeah. Anyway, what a great game. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Drew. I'm now on 23 points, which is certainly not great. It's a long way off the halfway mark.
Maybe not win the tournament, maybe podium.
Maybe not. Maybe
podium
we'll
at best,
yeah, manage your expectations a little bit here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still had a fun game here.
Yeah.
So it was much better than my previous ones where I was really just feeling like I was playing terribly. So good stuff. We'll go into your round 4.
Yes, me. Against Bondi. And his OP KOE, but also some Naiads, which is very cool.
Yes.
So, some really good game, and so I'm excited to get into it.
So don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate every single one of you guys.
Yeah, man.
Patreon is available if you want to be a super supporter. Give us some comments on your thoughts on this one.
All the social medias as well, and if you can spare 2 minutes just to click all those buttons, the thumbs up and stuff, it really helps with algorithms and stuff like that. As you said, the comments are wicked, so keep them coming.
Love it. And hopefully we're going to be drawing towards the American Veil Rider Cup soon.
Yes.
So look out for that.
Stay tuned.
Cool. Right, we're going to Lucky 60 10-4.
See you later.